Piece by piece the silence breaks, every bolt a beast awakes. Hands in steel, no turning back. I built the dark, painted black. Built in silence, forged in fear. Every piece brings darkness near. Engines whisper, then they roar. The streets won't sleep anymore. Steel and shadow locked in place, built for streets that never sleep. Shadows bend when wheels ignite. This machine was born for night. From scattered parts to something grand, the city fades, the lights grow dim. No hero calls, no warning sound, just the tumbler Gotham bound.
Hi, welcome back to another Tumbler video. So yeah, we're going to be carrying on with the Batmobile Tumbler. We got up to issue 9 so far in the last 3 videos. If you haven't seen them, please head to the playlist and you can check out issues 1 to 9. That being said, we're going to carry on today. We're going to start with issue 10 and yeah, really enjoying this build. So let's get down to the map. So, as mentioned, we're going to kick off with issue 10 of the Batmobile Tumbler, and it looks like we're going to be building or assembling the tyre. So, we've done that before on the other side, so should be quite straightforward. We get a few parts, we get some screws here, CM, AAM, we get the washer and the cap, and of course, we get the tyre itself. So, the first step is we're going to retrieve the parts from issue 9 that we got. And we're going to check the orientation of this tread. Now, it does get a little bit confusing, but if you look at the end, you've got the wider tread closest to the arm. And then the front face of the wheel is going to go on this side. So now we've got that sorted, we're going to drop that into that side of the wheel, and then we're going to marry this up. The plastic, this piece is metal and this is plastic, and that is going to line up only one way. You've got screw holes sort of 9 and 3 and 6 on a clock face, roughly, maybe. And but if you try and put this any other way, as you can see, like the screw holes just don't line up, so this will only go one way. So we're going to sit that down in there like so, and then we're going to secure all that in with 3 CM screws. Holding that together. That's one in, and then do the same for the other 2. And then one more CM screw. In the final hole. Good. Check. That's looking great. So now we've got that. Just a final check that the tread is on the correct side, which it is. Okay, so the next step is to take the wheel pin that we also assembled, and then that is going to go in And this is only going to go in one way, and you've got to move this round so that the wheel, or the brake disc locks in. You can see there's like a key, and that is going to line up with the wheel. But if you give it a little move, it sort of drops in. If you get it in wrong, then if you can see that the center doesn't sit up flush. If you move it, you see it drops in. That's when you know that you are in correctly. Okay, with that dropped in, we're going to then insert our plastic washer. I'm just going to do that with a pair of tweezers. Oh, I actually need to take that out. Put that in that way. And then we're going to secure that with an 8am screw through the center. So holding that all together, you can drive that screw through the center. That doesn't want to line up. I'm just going to remove that screw a minute. Check. Oh. Well, it does seem to be grabbing, but I just want to double check that that is in correctly. Yeah. So I'm going to reinsert the washer. It's better. It didn't feel right before. So that's a little bit tight, so I'm going to back that screw off just a fraction, just so we've got some movement there on the wheel. Doesn't need to be too loose because you're not going to be driving it round. Okay, so once that's all into place, that is our wheel assembly. And just going to check forward just to make sure in the right orientation. That. Our tread is the correct way round, which mine is. And sorry, I forgot one more thing. It does ask us to put the cap into this hole as the last wheel. I'm not going to do that just yet, just in case I need to take this wheel off for any reason. I do that with all my builds. I'm going to leave the cap off, and this will probably be one of the last things I put on the model, but I'll keep that safe in my screw organizer. Okay, moving on to issue 11. Again, this is a very familiar issue. We did this a few issues back, and we're going to be doing the shock absorber and the left steering bar. So we're going to be making up brackets and everything for fitting this to the bulkhead. So I've already got all the screws and everything together as before. So again, we're going to need this part here with the arrowhead facing downwards. Just adjust the camera, get you a bit of a closer up look. We're going to want these two pieces here, which are 11A. And then we're going to want screws for this. So let me get one ready on my screwdriver. And then as per the last time we did this, I am going to use a little bit of oil on this screw just to help drive these in a little bit easier. So we're going to turn this round, and that's going to go on like so, and then we're going to fit that in with the screw. And there's still movement. Perfect. So we're going to do the same on the other side. Repeat the process with another screw. Pop that on there like so, and then secure that home. And they move freely. So there we have. So yeah, with that part complete, we now turn our attention to the bracket we're going to fit next. So this one is marked with an L, and it's asking us to do it very slightly differently this time. So it's asking us to line that up to this edge of the bracket. We're going to need our pin to hand, which is going to come through from this side. We're then going to need our wheel assembly. Okay. We're going to fit that in. Oh, if we can get that lined up. In like that, with that part sandwiched in there. With the arrowhead, again, I'm calling it, facing the tyre. And then we're going to secure that all with the pin through to the other side, like so. And then we're going to use the other bracket on the other end with the D shape. Like so. Sorry, camera needs to come back a little bit for you to see. And then we're going to use a screw in there to secure that. And again, I'm going to use a little bit of oil just to help drive that screw in smoothly. And I've just noticed I've picked up more screws from my tray. There we go. Is that part complete? Those are screws, I believe. They are. I picked up some extra screws. So with that all being done, we can then bring back the bulkheads and fit that on the other side. Bring you back. There we go. So this is going to fit on this side of the vehicle. Again, make sure these are pointing upwards, and they're going to go in make sure they're lined up. Like so. And then we're going to use screws to secure that from the back. So I'm going to carefully reposition this. And I'm not going to tighten that too tight, because it does cause this bracket to pop out if it's anything like last time. So with those two now secured, I'll drive the other two 8M screws in. Going to move that above there while I can. And then we've got another two screws just in here. This is all a bit wobbly at the moment. So hopefully we'll secure that steering arm in soon. Oh. Nearly used the wrong screw. Perfect. And there we have that wheel installed onto the frame. I'm just comparing the sides just to make sure everything is correct and I haven't put something in the wrong orientation, and that all looks great to me. Perfect. Okay, so next we're going to be working on installing the suspension, the on there. So that's going to go on down into the shock. It's going to go down into there like the last one. Go onto that pin, and then that is going to get secured in again with an RP screw. And I've just seen this, if you saw the last video of this, it didn't suggest the screw for the other hole. It was an RP screw because it does mention it in this issue. So I'm just going to leave that like that and try and get in. It's a little bit awkward. If you can try and make some space. Because it's a plastic screw, they're quite easy to drive in. There we go. So then just check that is operating, which it is. And then we're going to need this part next to fit on the back. Again, a little bit awkward, but you can get that on. And then secure that also with an RP screw. Oh, somehow. Not quite sure how they've done that. Lift the wheel up, perhaps. This is a little bit awkward. But we're turning this upside down. In fact, it might be better to bring that down like that. Nope. Because the wheels are on, it's a little bit awkward to get that screw in. We are in now. Sorry you couldn't see that. It's really tight because the screw doesn't want to... You've got to have your screwdriver at an angle. Just like that. Okay, then we're going to bring that up and then we're going to secure that piece into the bar. And that is using... Ooh! Don't like manhandling this. It's a bit... Because there's a lot of loose parts at the moment. Right, so that is going to go into that bar. And then we're going to secure that with a UP screw. I'm just going to bring you back. This is going to be quite difficult. That's it. Don't breathe. Perfect. Now with that in, all our suspension is moving as intended. Now that was quite difficult to get everything all lined up in there, but that is all in. Just a quick check to make sure everything is in the correct positions, and it is. So the next thing we're going to do is I'm just going to prepare that, and we're going to move that universal joint because we're going to be fitting our steering arm in again from the back. Again, I believe it doesn't show, but I believe the arm will be facing down to match the other side, and then it's going to go in there like so. And we're going to use some AP screws to secure that as the other side. So let me try and get this into a position that I can work in. So arm down through the hole, and then we can secure that with an AP screw. Tighten it and loosen a bit. And then we're going to carefully bring this around. And then we need to get another AP screw down there into the other side of the joint. I think it's best to try and hold it from, turn the wheel so it works for you, and then line that up, hold it from underneath, push it up against the bar. That's it, and then you can get that in and then loosen off. Hopefully now, when we turn these, we have moving steering. Okay, so that is the front bulkhead and the wheels done. We're now moving on to issue 12, and we've got some slightly different things to do. So it looks like we're going to be working on the dashboard and the outer and inner central panels. So we've got some plastic parts to look at and some double-sided sticky we need to apply. So here are the parts. So that's the dashboard. And then we also get these pieces here as well. So I think it should be a fairly quick issue. So the first thing we're going to be doing is grabbing this piece here, and we want to turn this round, and we've got two L shapes there in the plastic, which is where we're going to install our sticky. So let me bring you in for a closer look. Okay, so I'm going to check the orientation of this. So I'm just going to peel that off. No. Oh, it took it off there. It took the top off rather than the actual glue itself, which is always a thing that can happen. Eek. Now this happened on the Aventador as well. I'm just going to line this up the best I can now that that's been removed. Hopefully that will suffice. And then we're going to do the same on the other side. Again, just be really careful. You're taking the sticky off from the back because it wants to attach to that more so than the top. And then we have something like that. So the next thing to do is to peel this off. And then we're going to sit that down on top of this part here. Before I peel this off, I'm just going to do a test fit. And it does fit nicely. It's always good to check. And then we're going to peel the top layer off. That didn't go too badly, that side. And then fit that together. Like so. And there we have it. That is this issue complete. There we go. A little bit of a shorter episode this week. Well, it feels shorter anyway. Until I do the final edit, I'm not sure the length, but yeah, great. And it was nice to be building, looking at some different parts. Bit of variance though, but yeah, really enjoyed that. That is it for this week. So please like the video. Please consider subscribing if you want to follow on with this build. It costs nothing and it really does help me out. But yeah, that's just for me to say have a good rest of your evening, week, and I'll see you next week for more Batmobile Tumbler. Take care.
Just the Tumbler, Gotham.